whereas the racist commentary is very public. The sizeist commentary is like acceptable. It's okay that she called her fat. It's sad,
really sad because she talks about having eating disorders.
Right.
That was a woman
so that on
who-
top of everything else. So it's but again, like shows like Real World, when people are younger and they're watching shows that reward that kind of negative behavior, then all they're going to do is grow up and be that, because everybody's telling them it's okay to be a bully. It's okay to be a overly dramatic person who only concentrates on the negative.
Well, remember those stickers that everyone used to have on their car, no fat chicks?
Yeah.
Remember those stickers?
Yeah.
Wow, like that's
still have
shocking. They still have them?
Yeah.
I mean, just that alone, like, it's incredible that somebody would take a sticker and put like that sticker on their car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm glad they do. It's just, that person damaged.
So you can stay away from them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to vandalize.
Windows to smash out.
I think what this boils down to, for me at least, is no matter what ism you have, because face it, it's not just women of size, or it could be anything. A friend of mine is a size 8. She thinks she's, huge, and not that there's anything wrong with that. But
that depends on what their peer group tells them.
Right. Well, usually what their peer group is telling them, because people search for power within their system.
But even the models on their airbrush, the
they
models
still
I've
think
seen,
they're
they don't even look
right.
like that.
But what happens is that when you get into an intimate situation, no matter what ism you have, you are less able to connect with that partner, because there's a third person in the room, and that person is your fear of your ism, whatever that is. If I've gone to bed with people and been like, please don't touch my stomach, because that is the part that everyone used to make fun of. And then you find a difference when you go to bed with someone who does touch your stomach and you're okay with it, and it's like, wow, I could have been enjoying that this whole time. Because some people, there's a pot for every cover, and there are some men that prefer a larger woman. There's someone for everyone.
Shame about that for them.
I'm sorry?
The shame about
There's
that.
absolutely shame about
Yeah.
that. Absolutely. And and men as it is too, in the whole chivalry and dating thing. There's a whole ism with men.
Men have body issues
Yes,
too.
they
I
do.
totally have body issues, clearly.
1 million men. 1 million men in this country have eating disorders.
Yeah, clearly.
So it's dating for them isn't easy, because they want to open the door, but then someone says to them, "I'm a woman, I can open my own door."
It's so
Where does
confusing.
manners get?
Right.
What? I don't understand. So it's very, very, very confusing. So it's just up to us to make it clear.
Yeah, and
Right.
size becomes an issue for men as well, because there's a whole issue of there's a weird kind of bullying that happens with fat boys, where they're told that they're girls. They're feminized. There was actually a big article about that a couple of weeks ago, because the pubic area, because there's a heavier mound there, it makes your penis look smaller.
Like a Barbie bump.
Yeah, they call it the Barbie bump. There's photos of naked large men saying, oh, he can't see his penis, so that he must not be a man. Like that kind of stuff is perpetuated with younger kids, and then obviously what that gets translated when you're older.
Or you throw like a girl. What's
Yeah.
wrong with that?
Well, actually.
Yeah, I throw really well.
You have a question? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I do. Folks, I know that Buck has done some interviews overseas and out of country, and I'd like some perspective from the panel, if you could, about how the perspective of the isms changes which country you go to, and how we can start to change it here, use some of those lessons, and start to change it here. I've gone to the Philadelphia Trans Health Conference 2 years in a row now, and the genderqueer kids are blowing my mind. They're not even in the picture with this. It doesn't exist for them. And when it does, they push back hard. And so that's the generation behind us that's really changing things drastically.
I know that
But it's changing things, within that community.
Right.
And the thing is, though, there are isms within that community. Don't let them fool you. They are definitely awesome and powerful, but I'll tell you that they also pull that ism shit within their own community. And if you,
That's what we need to talk about.
yes, I think what they're doing is incredible, but at the same time, they do not respect the other people's opinions about certain things, such as for example, myself and my vagina. I'm very proud of my vagina, but they will tell you that it's not cool that I call myself a man with a vagina. And they will fight back at me, and I'm like, but why? It's cool that you call yourself gender queer, or reclaiming words, right? Such as using the word queer. I'm old school. I'm from a long time ago where queer was a dirty, nasty word. And it's cool. I'm all about reclaiming words, don't get me wrong. But there are words that some people don't necessarily think are good enough to reclaim, such as the word tranny, okay? So there's those kind of isms, trust me, within that community. But I just needed to throw that out there because it's an awesome thing, but they're in their own world.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And they need
an ism
to
that I've
educate the
seen.
rest of the world as
Yeah.
well, not their own world.
It's definitely an ism I've seen in the trans community because I've
Yes.
done marketing and PR. When I'm not performing, I also do PR and marketing for the Transgender Film Festival. But they want nothing to do with trannies.
Exactly.
They want nothing to do with the porn
Right, the
version
porn.
of transgender, which
Yes.
is it
Derogatory,
speaks
supposedly.
right because in that community it seems to be, and I can't speak completely for that community. It speaks less about hormone therapy and actually changing who you are. It's more about plastic surgery.
Yeah. I mean, but that's again, it's your
creating a
choice.
free- yeah, exactly.
It's like
Yeah,
you want to, whatever kind of big
Right.
woman that you want to be. That's
Yeah.
it's like I'm sure that happens within the big person community.
Yeah.
That same ism thing, like you're not big enough, or
Right.
you're skinny now, or you know.
Yeah, we keep breaking through.
Isms
and
happen
finding
within
another one.
communities. I'm sure that you
There's a lot
realize
of
that.
ableism in
And
the
sometimes
body
that's even more
positive
hurtful.
community.
Yeah.
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 You're being attacked by
Yes.
friendly fire.
Go ahead.
So, I'm looking at some research currently about folks with disabilities who partner with people with disabilities, and kind of what you were speaking to about the idea of, as, for example, a fat person who is sleeping with someone who is not fat, that, however, when people of color sleep with people of color and people with disabilities sleep with disabilities and trans folks partner up, etc., there's this whole concept of isolationism and, you only stay with your own kind. Can you speak to, I guess, kind of both sides of that story of having someone that actually gets it be a partner, but then that idea too that, you can't even step outside those boundaries to have someone feel uncomfortable with? I don't know. if
Yeah,
that
there's
makes sense.
definitely a you're gonna date fat guys because you're a fat girl. So it must be so when a guy who's actually works out at the gym, takes really good care of his health and in his own vision of what that means for him, then seeks out a larger woman as a partner, it seems to like why? People are like, but you take such good care of yourself. Why would you be with a fat girl?
Well, fat people can take good care of themselves too.
Exactly,
Like,
thank you. But
and you can take good of yourself.
But it's
care of
also
yourself
personal
without being
preference. Like, guys who do, guys and girls who do kind of go on the extreme when it comes to like going to the gym and having a chiseled body, then seek out a larger male or female partner. That's their personal choice. But it seems like, again, the pure group goes, oh, well, if you're at the gym 6 days a week, why aren't you dating another gym rat?
I think that a lot of the isms is about defining people based on a physical characteristic, and humans are much, much more complex than that. So for me, when you ask the question about, is it okay, or how should people decide about that, it's like, as long as you're making a choice and seeing people as people, rather than identifying them as they have a penis or they don't, or they weigh over a certain amount of, their BMI is over a certain amount. When we start connecting with people as people, then the rest takes care of itself.
It's actually a really good question because Buck owns Buck Angel Is it Buck Angel Dating? Which is a trans dating site.
I'm
Is
trying to get my brother to join, but he's too scared.
is the majority of the people using that site trans, or do you have any like?
Well, actually, they are trans, but what's happening? A lot of gay men are going on that site, actually seeking trans men, which is really awesome. Well, it's giving
Transgender gay
an
men or
opportunity.
transgender gay men?
Cis.
Cisgender gay men, yes. Which is really amazing for me because I really always wanted to open that door for a lot of gay men who felt really actually very weird about being sexually attracted to trans men, because again, there's that whole thing. I'm a gay man. How is it possible that I can be attracted to a man with a vagina? It's not, does that make me gay? Like, wow, think about that question. That's pretty intense. Really, what makes you gay?
Having good sex makes me.
I feel like even if you're with
Yes,
somebody,
I wish to speak to the elephant in the room. Sex and the elderly.
Yes.
I've heard everyone speak about everything except ageism. I think I'm ultra ageism. Yeah, I
There's a
say I'm
panel
the oldest
tomorrow
man in the
afternoon.
room. Sorry?
There's a panel
this is
No, but we're
to come to that as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're coming to that. 'Cause
Oh.
we actually spent all lunch talking about being older.
Yeah.
It's as if we were invisible.
Yeah.
And then I was on the elevator coming up with, I believe, you.
Yes. What did I do?
And you were focused on where you were going, and I was gazing at you. It's
Oh.
to where I was even on the elevator. I'm not trying to point you out, do it,
Yeah.
buzz by doing that. It's just like so many people are like that.
I tend to travel in a bubble. Sorry.
I usually speak because you never even looked in my direction.
You know what?
And the only reason I said that was because it's just like we're invisible.
Can I speak to that actually, just as a woman? I don't think it has anything to do with age. I think it has to do, really, I don't think it does. I think what it has to do with is being a woman, we are often accosted a lot and made to feel ogled and sexualized when we don't want to be. So we automatically put ourselves in a bucket.
In my particular case, I'm not poly. I'm not. I'm in a committed relationship, even though I'm a porn performer for 3.5 years. I have a tendency to be surprisingly introverted, and so I tend not to go to parties or events unless I'm invited. I tend to be a hermit because of that, and you know that because I've told you. The only reason I go out is because you text me and go, "You're coming out." I'm like, okay. So if you had said hello, I would have completely
I
said,
usually do, but
yeah.
you seem like you were
But you really think it has to do with your age?
Yeah.
Have you noticed a difference since you've gotten older that people have reacted to you differently?
Yes.
Really?
Once I tell them I'm 66, then they just.
Well, you
You
don't
see,
look
you don't
60.
even look
look
it.
Heard of that.
It's like their eyes glaze
Yeah.
over. It's like I'm invisible. Like I said,
That's really interesting.
You need to read a little Joan Price.
One of my most
Right?
fun partners was 90.
Yes.
Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
porn scenes with 78-year-old men, so I don't have age issues at all.
I actually think there's a lot of women who seek out older men.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in college, I was 19 and my boyfriend was 53.
Awesome.
I think as a society, I think we do have a lot of media messages that you have to be young and sexy all the time or else you're worthless, which is why, I mean, I grew up watching the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
So I just thought, I'm going to be fucking until I die. So that's, but I think the people that come before that and after that, we've come in this society that is obsessed with that key 18 to 35 demographic, and it makes everybody else invisible.
It is extremely difficult when society tells you that men reach their sexual peak at 18 and women reach their sexual peak in their mid-30s, which is not true at all. And but it makes it very difficult for older men and women. What happens once you've passed that peak? Are you not allowed?
Well, that's why you need role models such as Nina.
Yeah, Nina
who
does
has
a
been
great
working
job.
in the sex industry for how long? 54. That is incredible, and you're an amazing role model for that. You know, you're sexy, hot, you can see that. Smart. Who cares about smart? But
Oh, fuck, you're such a guy.
can I see your tits?
But there are.
I'm just kidding.
But there are older men who do have porn careers of their own, both here in the States and in Japan. Dave Cummings is a perfect example of an older guy who, I don't know how old
Is he
Dave
still
is.
working?
I think he just recently retired.
Yeah.
It's
but-
78, I think it was.
yeah, but he was 78.
Also,
You know,
male
and
performers last longer. So when you're an established career, you have people like Tom Byron. I think he's been doing it for 19 years.
Yeah, but he still
Tom
has to
Hardy's
get a
doing
hard
30
on.
1 year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perform.
You had a question here?
Yeah, I do. Culturally, I know we put a lot of power in the ism, and I think individually, just with that last question, I think that a lot of personal power is put into this.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we can talk about your personal practices or processes of embodiment and self-acceptance, because we speak so much about what's going on in the media, and it's this and this and this, but really, I think, from my perspective, embodiment and truth, that's very
Right on.
personal.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and that was really the next question.
Yeah,
Like, how do we-
I fall into a very interesting response to that because I do get a fair amount of online bullying. You know, if I do an interview on a radio show or if I'm on HuffPo or whatever, there usually is a certain segment of the population that wants to internet troll and go, "Oh, you're fat," and try to shame me. And my answer has always been, yeah, but I make money doing that. So, and that's what people are asking me to do, is to perform as a plus size performer. So if I lose weight, I'll lose that. So F you. You know? And, but unfortunately that only allows me to be a role model for people over a certain age. And my issue is I would prefer to be a role model for people who had to deal with the bullying when I went through the bullying, which was when I was younger. Unfortunately, as a porn performer, I'm not technically allowed to do that. So that's my sadness. And so hopefully over time I'll be able to segue into something where I am maybe allowed to speak to younger people, but yeah.
I think part of it is communication and role, like you said, role modeling, but I don't think that I'm past all my isms. There's a lot of days I